My fiancé posted, I want her to prove her loyalty before the wedding with a polygraph. I commented, sure, you go first. Then I scheduled 2 tests, one for him, one for me. When the examiner started asking him the questions about his secrets, I realized I was 32, and until last month I had been planning my wedding to a man I thought I knew inside and out. His name's Daniel. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months. He was a marketing director, charismatic, always knew how to work a room. I loved that about him. He had this confidence that made you feel like everything would be okay as long as he was around. But Daniel had this thing about social media. Everything had to be documented, shared, discussed publicly. Our engagement photos got over 2,000 likes. He posted about our date nights, our arguments that we worked through together, even our couples therapy sessions when we hit a rough patch last spring. I wasn't thrilled about the oversharing, but I figured it was just his generation. He was younger than me by 6 years, and this was how people connected now. The trouble started 3 weeks ago. We were having dinner at his place, talking about the wedding, guest list stuff mostly. He was scrolling through his phone between bites of pasta, and suddenly he looked up at me with this strange expression. Babe, I've been thinking about something. Yeah, what's up? He set down his fork. I saw this thing online. A couple who got polygraph tests before their wedding, like to make sure there were no secrets going into the marriage. I laughed. That's insane. Who does that? People who want to start their marriage with complete honesty. He wasn't laughing. I think we should do it. I put down my own fork. Daniel, come on, we've been together 3 years. We know each other. Do we? I mean, really? He leaned forward. What if there's something you're not telling me, or something I'm not telling you? Wouldn't it be better to clear the air now instead of having it come out later? What would you possibly be hiding from me? He shrugged. Nothing. That's the point. We'd both prove we have nothing to hide. I should have seen it then. The way he wouldn't quite meet my eyes, but I was annoyed, not suspicious. If you need me to take a polygraph to marry you, maybe we have bigger problems. He got quiet after that. Changed the subject. I thought that was the end of it. 2 days later, I was tagged in a Facebook post. Daniel had written a long paragraph about trust, transparency, and modern relationships. The key line, I want her to prove her loyalty before the wedding with a polygraph. If you have nothing to hide, why would you say no? My phone exploded. Friends, family, coworkers, everyone saw it. My mom called me in a panic. My best friend Clara sent me a screenshot with the caption, "Girl, what the hell?" I called Daniel immediately. What is this? What's what? The Facebook post. You made it sound like I'm hiding something. I didn't say that. I just said, I think polygraphs are a good idea for engaged couples. You tagged me. Everyone thinks I'm refusing because I'm guilty of something. Well, are you refusing? That's not the point. He sighed. Look, I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, but if you're this defensive, maybe there is something to talk about. That's when I got angry, really angry. Not because of the polygraph itself, but because he'd weaponized social media to pressure me. The comments on his post were already piling up, his friends taking his side. If she won't take the test, that's a red flag. Sounds like someone has something to hide. A few people defended me, but they were drowned out. I sat there staring at my phone for about 20 minutes. Then I typed a comment under his post. Sure, you go first. 3 words. That's all it took. Within an hour, he called me back. What do you mean I go first? Exactly what I said. You want us to take polygraphs? Great, we'll both do it. But since it was your idea, you can go first. Set the example. Silence on his end. Then that's ridiculous. We should do them at the same time. Why? If you have nothing to hide, what's the problem? More silence. You're being childish. No, I'm being practical. You want transparency? Let's be transparent. I'll schedule 2 tests. One for you, one for me. Yours first. He hung up on me. Update 1. I meant what I said. The next morning, I found a polygraph examiner in our city. His name was Vincent, retired law enforcement, ran a private practice doing pre-employment screenings and relationship tests. Apparently, Daniel wasn't the first person to think of this. Vincent said he did about 3 or 4 couples a month. I scheduled 2 appointments for the following Saturday, 10 and 12 a.m. For Daniel, 1 p.m. for me. Then I commented on Daniel's Facebook post with the details. Appointment scheduled. Yours is first. See you Saturday. The post got another wave of attention. Some people thought I was calling his bluff. Others thought I was being aggressive. Daniel's sister commented, "This is toxic. You both need therapy, not polygraphs." Maybe she was right, but I was past caring. Daniel had made this public, and now I was finishing what he started. Daniel called me that night. He'd been drinking. I could hear it in his voice. "You're really going to make me do this? You asked for it literally in front of 700 people. I didn't think you'd actually." He stopped himself. "Fine, I'll do it, but this is going to make you look paranoid." "I'll take that risk." He showed up Saturday morning 15 minutes late. Vincent's office was in a small, professional building downtown, second floor, waiting room with beige chairs and motivational posters. I was already there when he arrived, holding a coffee and looking like he hadn't slept. "You didn't have to come watch," he said. "I'm not watching, I'm waiting. My appointment's after yours." Vincent came out and introduced himself, mid-50s, calm demeanor, handshake like a vice grip. He explained the process to both of us. The test would take about 2 hours. He'd ask control questions first, then the relevant questions we'd agreed on beforehand. I'd sent Vincent a list. "Have you been physically intimate with anyone else during our relationship? Have you been emotionally involved with anyone else during our relationship? Are you currently in contact with any ex-partners without my knowledge? Have you hidden any financial information from me? Is there anything else about your past or present that you haven't told me?" Daniel looked at the list and his jaw tightened. "These questions are invasive." Vincent shrugged. "They're standard for relationship polygraphs. If you'd like to modify them, now is the time." He shook his head. "No, let's just get this over with." He went into the examination room. The door closed. I sat in the waiting room and scrolled through my phone, not really seeing anything. Part of me felt vindicated, another part felt sick. What was I doing? Was I about to marry someone I didn't trust, or was I proving that trust by going through with this? An hour passed, then another. Finally, the door opened. Daniel came out first, face pale. He wouldn't look at me. Vincent followed him. "We need to talk," Vincent said. We sat in Vincent's office, a small room with a desk cluttered with files and a computer monitor showing a graph I didn't understand. Daniel sat in the chair farthest from me, arms crossed. Vincent looked at his notes. "Daniel showed deceptive responses to questions 2, 3, and 5, he said. My stomach dropped. "What does that mean?" I asked. "It means the physiological responses, heart rate, perspiration, breathing, indicated deception when answering those specific questions." I turned to him. "What the hell?" He was crying now. Not the pretty kind you see in movies. Ugly, gasping, almost panicked. "Then what is it?" Vincent stood. "I'll give you two some privacy." He left the room and closed the door behind him. Daniel wiped his face with his sleeve. "I've been talking to my ex, Laura, from college." Laura. The name hit me like a punch. High school sweetheart who he'd dated on and off through college. He had told me years ago that they'd lost touch. "How long?" "Since last summer. She reached out on Instagram. It started as just catching up, then texting more, then talking on the phone." "Are you sleeping with her?" "No, God, no. It's not physical. We haven't even seen each other in person." "But you're emotionally involved." He nodded, fresh tears spilling down his cheeks. "I don't know what I feel. I love you. I want to marry you. But Laura, she understands me in ways you don't. We have history." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. "So you've been carrying on an emotional affair for almost a year, and you had the nerve to demand I take a polygraph?" "That's why I wanted us to do this. I knew I needed to come clean, but I couldn't just tell you. I thought if we both did the test, it would force me to be honest." "You're unbelievable." I stood. "You made me look like a paranoid, controlling girlfriend online so you could confess to cheating." "It's not cheating if it's not physical." "Yes, it is." My voice was louder than I intended. "You've been lying to me for months. You've been sharing our relationship with 700 strangers on Facebook while hiding the one thing that actually mattered." He stood too. "What about you? You're so quick to judge me, but you haven't even taken your test yet. Maybe you've been hiding things too." "Fine, let's find out." Vincent came back in when I opened the door. "I'm ready for my test," I said. He nodded. "Give me 10 minutes to reset the equipment." Daniel left. Didn't say goodbye. Just grabbed his coat and walked out. I sat in the waiting room alone, replaying the last year in my head. Had there been signs? Late-night texts he'd hide? Times he seemed distant? Maybe. Or maybe I'd been too comfortable to notice. Vincent called me in. The examination room was small, windowless. The polygraph machine looked less intimidating than I'd expected. Just sensors and a laptop. Vincent attached the equipment. Bands around my chest, clips on my fingers, a blood pressure cuff on my arm. "Try to relax," he said. "Answer every question with a simple yes or no, no explanations." He started with control questions: my name, my age, where I lived. Then he moved to the relevant questions, the same list I'd given Daniel. Have you been physically intimate with anyone else during our relationship? Have you been emotionally involved with anyone else during our relationship? Are you currently in contact with any ex-partners without his knowledge? Have you hidden any financial information from him? Is there anything else about your past or present that you haven't told him? I hesitated. There was nothing recent, but something from before we met, a DUI from when I was 25. I had told Daniel I had a clean record because I was embarrassed. It was expunged years ago, but technically I'd lied. No, I said. Vincent unhooked me 20 minutes later. He reviewed the results on his computer, then looked up. You showed deception on the last question. Update 3. I explained about the DUI. Vincent nodded, like he'd heard it 1,000 times before. That's what we call a minor deception. Not relevant to the current relationship, but technically a lie. I can note it in my report as clarified. Does Daniel need to know? That's up to you, but if you're doing this for transparency, I'd recommend telling him. I left Vincent's office feeling hollowed out. My test had been clean where it mattered. I hadn't cheated, but Daniel had emotionally, which somehow felt worse than if it had been physical. Physical affairs were about opportunity and weakness. Emotional affairs were about choosing someone else to be vulnerable with. I drove home and called Clara. I told her everything. So what are you going to do? She asked. I don't know. Call off the wedding? Probably, but hear me out. Maybe he did me a favor. He pushed for this test because he wanted to come clean. That's something. Or he's manipulative, and this was his way of controlling the narrative. Also possible. I didn't hear from Daniel for 2 days. No calls, no texts, nothing. His Facebook post about the polygraphs was still up, but he had disabled comments. On Monday evening, he finally showed up at my apartment unannounced. We need to talk, he said. Yeah, we do. We sat on my couch, awkward distance between us. He looked exhausted. I ended things with Laura, he said. Told her I couldn't talk to her anymore. It wasn't fair to you or our relationship. Good, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how far it had gone until I was sitting in that room hooked up to the machine and Vincent asked me those questions. Hearing them out loud made me realize what I'd been doing. Why didn't you just tell me? Why make it this big public thing? He shook his head. Because I'm a coward. I thought if I framed it as both of us getting tested, it wouldn't feel like I was confessing. It would just be mutual honesty. That's messed up, Daniel. I know. We sat in silence for a while. Then he asked, Did you pass your test? Mostly. There was one thing, a DUI from when I was younger. I never told you about it. He blinked. That's what you were hiding? A decade-old DUI? It felt relevant at the time. You asked if I'd ever been in legal trouble, and I said no. He almost laughed. That's nothing compared to what I did. Yeah, it is. I reached for his hand. He didn't pull away, but didn't squeeze back either. Can we fix this? He asked. I don't know. You spent a year building a relationship with someone else while planning a wedding with me. You made me look paranoid and controlling online because you were projecting your own guilt. I don't know if I can trust you again. I'll do whatever it takes. Therapy, couples counseling, delete my social media, anything. That's not the point. The point is, you shouldn't have to be forced into honesty. It should be the default. Update 4. We didn't break up that night. Part of me wishes we had. It would have been cleaner. Instead, we agreed to postpone the wedding and start couples therapy. Daniel deleted his Facebook post after I asked him to. Though the screenshots were already circulating, my inbox was full of messages from people who'd seen the drama unfold. Some supportive, some nosy, some just entertained by the chaos.